This is episode 1532, 1532. Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm late. Hey, how are you today? My name's Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Café Anyway, located somewhere in Castro Valley, Mont. Today we hear from people. You know, we're at the last place on earth, and I used to do this show years ago. It had a slightly different name, but I used to broadcast out of Huntsville, Alabama. Today we got John Deere, the engineer, Floyd the Floorman, and Chely Shoehart. I just found out that Huntsville, Alabama has got
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Racists. No, I'm kidding. There might be a couple there. They're all over the place, so look out.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
No, back when I lived in Huntsville, this was, like 9 years ago, there was this thing people wanted, and that was a auto plant built in the Huntsville area so they could build cars that you could drive around and you could go,
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Yes, say ridiculous things like that mean nothing.
Oh, my.
No, what happened was they wanted
Mike's
to build cars
Daily
in Huntsville.
Podcast.
I think it was Hyundai at the time.
Yeah.
Hyundai and Hyundaisville would be what that was. But they decided to go to Pigeon Forge or Knoxville or something like that, Tennessee. And Alabama didn't get the auto plant. But now they've got an auto plant. Yay! Big news for Huntsville, Alabama. They're going to build, like, Toyota's there, Mazda's there. Look who just walked in. Hello, McMatthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the truck supervisor. I'm a millennial and I'll never drive. You're not a millennial. I'm a millennial. No, wait. I've known you forever. We used to do the Santa Fe Cafe together, so, no.
No.
Mike Matthews, whatever. It's true, though. Millennials don't want to drive. That's what the big story is. Why should I own a car when there's all this wonderful, dependable public transportation everywhere? Oh, no, my friend. Millennials will get sick of that pretty quick. Public transportation sucks! Especially in the Bay Area. Oh my God. There's only so many times you can see a smelly, disgusting, pot-reeking, flies buzzing around, scary mass of humanity that, I feel bad.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I feel bad for them. But oh my God, they stink! Oh, what is happening there? What happened? They just need a hand up. They need a hand up and they need to be helped out. No! Wow! Woo! It stinks! Yeah. That's what a millennial will get tired of that after a while. I'm thinking. Mike Matthews, whatever. No, they're going to always want to help them out and stuff. And I was really offended by you talking about sailing doodles yesterday. Sailing doodles is that was the best thing I ever talked about, sailing doodles. And the constant, it's all sailboats and bikinis. It's a lovely show. Everyone should watch it on YouTube. I just had to talk about it. I just have to stop for your love. You. Hey, I have this lovely picture. Should I post this picture? Oh, no, not this one. Yeah. Okay, I think I want to go with a San Francisco picture. Possibly. We'll see. Now, I hate when I don't find a picture beforehand, and then I'm looking at it while I'm talking to you, and then I can't find a darn thing. Isn't that just the way? But we'll find something. You know, what I was going to say was, before I got sidetracked looking at stuff, is should I do this one with the Cumberland River? I don't think I've done this one before. I think we should go to Nashville. Oh, I did use this one already. Dang. Shoot. Okay. Well, I'll find something. Something about Huntsville. How about that? That's what we'll do. We'll go to Huntsville. Let's see. Have I used this one? And no, we're all good. Okay, so this is a bridge in Huntsville, and there's this water flowing underneath this bridge, but it's not really water. It's actually spring water coming out of a spring, because it's called Big Spring, this area of Huntsville, Alabama. So I will post this picture at mikesdailypodcast.com, and you can see that. I was going to go to San Francisco, and there was this cool picture I had of a Sutro Tower and the fog kind of floating around it, but whatever. Café Anyway. The point is, Steve Bannon is now fired from Breitbart. Oh, we had a couple other people. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Excellent choice with that picture from Huntsville, Alabama. Good on them. Mm-hmm. Huntsville, yes, getting those jobs. They need it. There's all this technology already. Huntsville's a nice place. I met some really nice people there, and I miss it. And I talked about it on the Monday show, how I really wish I could move back there, but I have my wonderful dog, Basil the Boxer, who I don't think he'd do well in Huntsville, honestly, at his stage of life. But we went on this walk yesterday in Castro Valley, where I now reside. And I'll tell you, there's things afoot in Castro Valley. It's growing. It's always growing in Castro Valley. And the Castro Valley Village, Castro Village is what it's called. It's been there for eons. There are pictures of it back in the 1950s, back when everybody was watching Leave It to Beaver. And it was just that's the weirdest name for a show ever. But apparently that's what worked for a long time. I knew a guy that had to watch reruns every day, and he was a a-hole. I gotta watch my Leave It to Beaver every day, Mike. By the way, I'm gonna be annoying in every possible way. And I said, okay. Oh, that's what made him annoying was he'd be all nice to me when we were, one-on-one doing stuff. We'd have a good time. We'd be good friends. And then we'd get around our other friends, and he would constantly rip on me. Like, to the point, they'd, leave me. We'd be going somewhere, and they would just leave me. And, Mike, the joke on you, huh? Total, like the guy from Family Guy. Ha, ha, ha. And that's why I hate Family Guy so much, because it reminds me of this jerk I used to know. Okay. Someone that I used to know, a Louisiana teacher, was removed from a school board meeting in handcuffs. In dramatic fashion, a Louisiana middle school teacher was removed from a school board meeting in handcuffs after she spoke out loud about teacher pay. Ooh. Oh, 13 dead in the mudslides in California. Oh, man. And there were, only one death in the whole Thomas Fire thing, so, that's sad. But what I wanted to say, back to Huntsville, was people were nice there, and I enjoyed it, and nobody watched Leave It to Beaver. Or, I might have my facts wrong there, but... Oh, and then Trump was doing that speech yesterday, that televised conference call with all the people, the politicians, and he was talking about how he would like to help, work on DACA, but then Judge William Alsup granted a request by California and other plaintiffs to prevent the president from ending DACA while their lawsuits play out in court. And, but there was this one thing that Trump said. I won't be able to get it during this show because I'm pressed for time. He said, I'll take the heat. Oh, yeah, because he was going to do something where he was going to compromise with the Democrats. And they were like, well, you're going to get a lot of heat from Republicans. He goes, I'll take the heat. I'm used to heat. I like the heat. I think that will probably go down next to his Let's Make America Great Again thing. I think that will be probably one of his memorable parts of it. I could be completely wrong. He's probably got something else up his sleeve. He's going to say something just even better than that.
Wrong.
No?
Because you'd be in jail.
No? Nah. He's never said anything interesting ever.
We're moving things along, and we're moving them along fast.
I know what's good and bad. I inherited. This is a fine-tuned machine. It's a mess. I won.
WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks.
They will be met with fire, fury, and
I
frankly,
say it's
power,
better to get along with Russia than not.
Which this world has never seen before.
All right. So that happened. There's this guy named Carter. Carter, what is it? Oh, Carter something. And he was part of the Trump campaign, and he was working a lot with the Russians. Carter Page. And he was also very, hey, we need to get along with Russia. It's better to get along with Russia than not type thing. But he's an odd fish. And whenever you see him in interviews, it's just, whoa, this guy. He's kind of out there. But he got, the Trump campaign said, hey, see you later. Back when it was first discovered that he was talking actively with the Russians. And that whole story is on the Daily New York Times podcast. And this is Mike's Daily Podcast. And you can find it at mikesdailypodcast.com, where there's also links to where you can help out this show through the Amazon link. Buy whatever it is you're going to buy on Amazon. Also, there is the thing with the PayPal if you'd like to help us out that way. And there's past interviews that I've done with some interesting people. Trump administration has barred oil drilling off Florida after Governor Scott Brown is the governor, right? Urged him to not. Rick Scott Brown is Minnesota, I think. Rick Scott. I support the governor's position that Florida is unique and its coasts are heavily reliant on tourism as an economic driver, said the state's governor, Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke said that about the state. All right, now that I've completely confused you, and now that my mom is happy that she's not going to have oil drifting all over her beach that she loves to go to, that's great. All right, now, as we're wrapping up the show, because it's a quick show today, I was walking with Basil the Boxer downtown Castro Valley, and Castro Village is growing. And they've got this thing called The Habit is moving in, that hamburger franchise that we got all over California. I think it started around Ventura. I used to go to it when I lived in Ventura about 10 years ago. And now we're going to get one in Castro Village. We're also going to get a mod pizza. Mod pizza is for you mods that watch the show, the other great show from the 60s, Dobie Gillis, which that's theme song sounded something like this. Or the opening sounded like this. A lot of hum, and then this happened. Oh my. Yeah, that's the most annoying ever. The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis was actually...
Shout Factory
And the young Gilligan was on that show. The Flash Gordon, The Greatest Adventure of All Time, is up on YouTube. It's a cartoon from 1979. I'm going to watch that later. Last night I watched on YouTube of the making of Disneyland. They had old footage, old like Super 8 film footage of when Walt Disney was building Disneyland. It was built on a timeline, like they had a deadline, and the Jungle Cruise was basically a guy and this other guy would draw out in the sand how the route would go for the boat. It's amazing. That's on YouTube somewhere to watch. Disneyland. Oh, and Tomorrowland was just finished. Hardly. There was plywood exposed. They had to put plants in front of some of the plywood that they didn't get to paint over yet. Tomorrowland, this is in the 1950s. It's supposed to be all futuristic, which, of course, if you look at it now, you go, ha, that's so like 1950s future concept. But they had, a huge rocket there, and it's fascinating. They didn't quite. There was a lot that Disneyland has now that obviously that things would undergo changes. The Sleeping Beauty Castle was completely different because Sleeping Beauty the movie wasn't even out yet. So they had all kinds of I'd go into that more, but I know you're not interested. I know you're more interested in Castro Village that I walked to, and there's too many homeless. And I'm being really mean about homeless today. But it's bad in Castro Valley now, really bad. And then there was this guy with a dog with a bull terrier, and the bull terrier was like missing a leg, and he was walking around the side. I've got Basil the boxer there, and it was a strange situation. I kind of walked around him and avoided it. There's all kinds of bizarre sights that you see. I'm all about dogs getting around. When a dog loses a limb, they totally, it's like within a matter of hours they compensate and they somehow adapt. They're amazing, adaptable creatures. So whatever, but it was a interesting day. My walk through Castro Valley and stopping at a little dog place with a really cute girl working there who was just going crazy over Basil the boxer. It's a dog, like a mom and pop owned dog, like Positive Karma, I think is what, with the paw being a dog paw. Okay, you get it. As we go outside of Café Anyway, we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Castro Valley. We got to a lot today, but we could have gotten to more, but there's just no time. My doggy alarm didn't wake me up today, and so I'm running a little late. But next show, it's going to be even better, because we'll have Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a little more. Dobie! A lot of dogs were named Dobie, so that's a good thing. Have a wonderful day. Oh, and yes,
Burgermaster.
a great day.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye. Tomorrow.